Hey everybody, this is Colin. Thanks for joining me for my video on my test course, High School Biology for IDET 5365. I am using Screencastify, which is a Chrome extension, to show you my test course that I used Coursesites by Blackboard for. I chose Coursesites because I am familiar with the operation of Blackboard, number one as a student and number two as a staff member. As a student, obviously in my own classes, and as a staff member at the university, I've been a course trainer in Blackboard for several grant-funded projects that I've worked on for the last few years. So with that expertise, I thought that I could apply that to what I've done here, which in some cases I have. But as you'll see, this looks very different than what you might have experienced as a user of Blackboard previously. I do like some of the new functionality that they've added into this free version. And it's definitely something I could see myself using in my own future class to support my students and grant them 24 access to structured curriculum, as long as they have access to internet, and there's probably an app on the phone that they can access this stuff as well. So some of the major features that you'll see right off the bat is number one, course content. Everything that I have open to the students is listed in these folders, and you can see that they're all visible to students, and I can expand on each of these folders, each of these units. In objectives and overviews, I shared the TEKS biology from the state. Open education resource tab shows several textbooks that students can use. There's 4 here. OpenStax has 2, one for AP Biology, second edition of their biology textbook. Flexbook has CK12 Biology, and then another iteration of that Flexbook is the Utah Science Standards, all in PDF format, free online, open education resources you can find through a simple Google search. And they're all peer-reviewed, so that's the important thing. And lastly, I added Khan Academy for biology. There's a link directly to biology on Khan Academy for the students to use at any time if they need extra help and I'm not able to help them because it might be 3 o'clock in the morning. Who knows? Some of the other functionality is you'll see there's a roster of all your students who are enrolled in the class. You can create groups. I have opened the course full access for any student that is assigned to the course. Currently, it's just me and myself. Blackboard Collaborate is similar to WebEx, which a lot of us might have used in another online class or a hybrid class, and we'll get into that in a few minutes. You have attendance that you can take. You can post announcements, and it'll tell you students that have seen it and those who haven't. You have open education resource right here and books and tools that I'll open up in a few minutes and show you that. Question banks, you can manage questions that you've developed for multiple courses and multiple tests and kind of interchange them. So I think that's really cool. I haven't quite figured out all of the intricacies with managing test banks, but I think that could be super important if you're managing multiple classes. And then lastly, you have a student preview. So at any time I can, if I upload something new and I want to make sure it's visible, or I want to test the exam out or the flashcards out for myself, then I can just enter the student preview mode and see what my students are seeing as well. So the first thing I want to demonstrate is student preview and Blackboard Collaborate. So I'm going to enter the student preview mode here, and it will pop up a confirmation screen saying, yes, please start the preview. But then it will show me the course as it is being seen by the students. And one thing that really caught my attention was in Blackboard Collaborate here on the left side, I have this glowing icon. I started a session before the video started. It's up there in the next tab, which I'll show. But this indicates that there's a live session going on right now. So if a student's online and they're logging into their class, like, oh, there's a live session, let me join. So they can just click on join session. Alternatively, if it's not glowing, they can click on these 3 little dots and view all recordings. So this will archive all the videos that have been saved through Blackboard Collaborate for this specific course, and they can access those at any time. So I'm going to go over here to Blackboard Collaborate, and on the right-hand side of the screen is your hidden panel options. So you can start a discussion with everyone. It'll show you everyone that's in the class. And then you have share options. So right now I'm sharing a whiteboard. And if I had a touch screen and a stylus, I could be writing on that. So this is actually pretty good handwriting for just, a little trace pad. So I'm pretty proud of that. So sharing my whiteboard right now. And then I can also do a poll. So for example, I want to ask, do you love biology? And then I can share that poll and it'll pop up a little dialogue like this. And I can select a response. Yes, I also love biology. And so then I can set a timer and I can stop, lock the poll, kind of see where we're at from a moderator perspective. And this little icon right here shows you how the poll responses are going. So I don't know if anybody's used Socrative before. I've used it in a class for biochemistry. And we use Socrative quite a bit to kind of poll the class and see what the feedback is. Are people understanding what's going on in class? And so it kind of allows the instructor to poll the class instead of going to another resource like Socrative or Kahoot or something like that. It's built in directly to your Blackboard Collaborate. So if you're doing an online class or an online study session, this might be an awesome tool for someone to use. So I'm going to stop that poll. I'm going to stop the share screen and back out of here. And then lastly, just to dive into my first unit on Introduction to Biology, which is what the students would start with when they first come to the class. They expand the folder and they'll see 4 items. The first one is Vocabulary Quizlet. So that links directly to a Quizlet on vocabulary that I've developed. So it just lists all of the important terms that they'll see in the first unit and allows them time to study. And they can even make a game out of it. So they could do a match game, a gravity game, or others. And the second is I have an Introduction to Biology PowerPoint, something that I would discuss in class, and they could go back and see at any time in PowerPoint. And then I've created my first exam. And they would just click on that and it would allow them to start their session and take the test. You have some ability and flexibility as the instructor through the settings tab up here on the right top to open and adjust the settings of the exam itself. So you can randomize the questions, randomize the answers. You can change the number of attempts they can have, and you can opt to not show correct answers after they finish taking the test. And then the last item for Unit 1, Class Introductions. So I just did, a poll. This is an engagement piece that allows you to, I asked them to introduce themselves and to their fellow classmates by telling us their name and one thing that interests you about biology. I obviously responded to myself, saying, I really love that life is so diverse and I really look forward to learning the mechanisms behind speciation evolution. And I went ahead and embedded a YouTube video that seems to be my favorite video on evolution. So one thing that I think is lacking in this version of Blackboard is that I don't have a lot of flexibility in how I can manipulate a lot of the white space, so kind of making themes or whatever. And one thing that I am a little disappointed in is that I can't embed videos. I have to hyperlink videos. So if I want to share a YouTube video or a Vimeo video, I have to link it. I can't just embed it so students can click it. They have to go to the website itself. So I think that the ability to embed videos is super important from a user perspective. But I think this online platform can enhance learning because it integrates technology and interaction and potentially games into the class. It would also allow students 24-hour access to structured educational resources that I've compiled myself. So it's been vetted by me, and they can leave class, go home, and have access to this 24/7. So I've shared this class to IDET in our Blackboard. So if you'll take a few moments just to look through, take a test, maybe it doesn't matter if you get the answers right or not, that'll allow me to test some of the other functionality that is built in as well. So thank you very much, and I appreciate your feedback.